San Juan Regional Medical Center is your community hospital, committed to making life better for the communities we are privileged to serve. In fact, better is our mission, improving lives through personalized health and care. What matters most to our patients matters most to us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services so you can get the quality care you need right here at home. San Juan Regional Medical Center, celebrating life better here since 1910. Four Corners Musical Theater Company presents Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street at the Farmington Civic Center, October 20th through the 30th. Halloween thrills and a haunting musical story that follows Sweeney Todd, a barber in historic London, bent on bloody revenge after being framed. Vengeance has never tasted so good. Tickets at fmtn.org/shows or at the Farmington Civic Center box office. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Eleven minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning, the 27th day of October, 2022. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, of course. In Durango, Colorado, you can always tune us in at 103.3 FM, and if you're anywhere else on the planet, just go to our website and listen, ksje.com. You can also ask your smart speaker to play KSJE, and guess what? It will. Also, welcome to our viewers who are watching this visual radio program. The video is streaming out live this morning to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. So we're glad that you are with us this morning, everybody, because coming up this morning, we're going to be talking about the 2022 elections with my guest, the San Juan County Clerk. Tanya Shelby is standing by. She'll be visiting with me in the next few moments right here on KSJE this morning. And then later on today, we'll be checking in with Piedra Vista High School drama students about their upcoming performance. We hope you'll stay tuned for that. You'll see it and hear it today at 8:50 a.m. on KSJE. Next hour, Mick Hess is going to take us roving with the arts. He is playing some more great classical music for us this morning from Igor Stravinsky. Join us for that after the news next hour, beginning at 9:06 on the radio. And don't forget, you can also connect with us on our Instagram page in addition to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And if you're a podcast person, well, we've got those for you as well. You can subscribe for free to KSJE Podcasts and maybe discover a program that you may have missed recently. You can find them wherever you listen to podcasts, places like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Google Podcasts and Pandora. The list goes on and on and on. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it's a partly sunny morning this morning, but the temperature is chilly, 36 degrees at the moment. Winds are also a little bit gusty this morning, gusting up to 20 miles per hour so far. We're expecting a cold and windy day today with a high of only 48 degrees this afternoon and some higher wind gusts today. Clear overnight tonight with a low of 25, and then tomorrow sunshine, a bit warmer with a high of 55 degrees on Friday, sunny and 57 on Saturday, 56 on Sunday, 58 on Monday, and maybe even some lower 60s by the middle of next week before the next chance for rain showers and colder temperatures come in later next week. Well, let me turn to my guest who is here with me this morning. Welcome back. And it's the middle of the voting season here. Tanya Shelby is here, San Juan County Clerk, and she's here with me this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, and it's good to be here.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned, we are kind of in the middle of voting season, right? The election day is coming up, just a couple weeks away, right?
Yes, it was actually 2 weeks from this past Tuesday.
That's right. So things are busy in your office.
We are busy. We love it.
Right. This is one of your main duties as the county clerk, right? Is to oversee elections.
It is
in the county. And so I wanted to ask you a bit about an issue that came up maybe a week or so ago, when you sent out kind of an alert, I guess, or just some information to the public about a problem with some absentee ballots that you had noticed.
Yes, Scott. So unfortunately, our vendor did not put our return address on the outer envelope that the voter uses to mail the ballot back to us. The unfortunate part is that my office did not catch it right away, but the best part is we received 61% of those ballots back.
So far.
So far.
Okay.
We have contacted the voters either by phone, by letter, by email, and provided the correct address.
Got you. And this was about maybe almost 2,000?
1,973 to be exact.
Okay.
Yes.
You have that number. You know that
Yes,
number.
I do.
And so, and 60% of those have come back with the way they're supposed to.
Yes.
And so it's just the rest that you've contacted those voters and let them know. And did they want new envelopes, or there's different, I guess, ways to correct this problem?
So the simplest way is that the voter writes our P.O. Box 550, Aztec, New Mexico 87410. The letters that we sent out have a label attached.
Okay.
So all the voter has to do is just apply that label
Gotcha.
to their envelope.
And they could still send it back in time, and it's not an
Yes,
issue at the moment.
yes, correct. And then they can also just hand deliver it. Some of our voters like to do that anyways.
Okay.
And now that our early voting sites are open, they're welcome to take their ballots in and drop them off at an early voting site too.
Okay.
So.
And I think you reached out to some of the post offices too, right? And postmasters, and just asked for them to be on alert too, right?
Yes, we did. And we have an amazing relationship with our local post offices. We've also contacted the Albuquerque post office, and then Bernalillo County. Any ballot that they receive, they at the current time they're mailing to us, and I get they communicate that information to me daily. Yesterday it was one ballot that they received, and then as it gets closer to election, we will be going to Albuquerque. We will be picking them up and bringing them back so that every vote is counted.
Right. Got you. So that appears to be under control, that issue, as far as you can tell, right? I mean,
Yes.
there's a small amount that's left out there. You've made contact with those voters that have been affected, and if anyone requested a new absentee ballot, those went out and had the correct address on that outer envelope.
So we haven't actually had anyone request a new ballot because they received their ballot. The problem is just if they were to mail it back without the address.
I got you.
But as far as the way the process has been working, since we have received over 60%, the post office, first and foremost, knows how important elections are. It was an unfortunate situation that happened in my office, and I apologize to every voter in San Juan County for that. But the recovery portion of it, I feel like, has been so far successful. I would encourage any voter that has received their absentee ballot to look on the envelope and make sure that there is an address. If you, as an absentee voter, have returned your ballot, you are welcome to contact our office, and we will verify that that ballot has been received.
Got you. Good. And you can do that, obviously, and voters are able to contact you and find out where in the process their ballot is, right?
Yes. And I would encourage that, just so everyone has the assurance that the ballot has been returned to my office.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for addressing that and talking to me a little bit about that. And so for the rest of folks who aren't voting absentee, early voting is open right now, right?
Yes. So we actually have 6 early voting sites. In Farmington, we have the Farmington Public Library. We have the Gateway Museum. Bloomfield is the Cultural Center. Of course, my office, Newcomb, a fire station, and the Central Consolidated Schools Business Office.
There you go. And that's through the 5th.
The 5th of November. The hours for my office, we actually open at 7 a.m. and we close at 7 p.m. And that's the hours Monday through Friday. Saturday's hours are 10 to 6. All of our alternate locations open at 11 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m. And then same Saturday hours, 10 to 6. So if you need to vote before 11, early.
Right.
Then you'll need to come into Aztec and vote at the county clerk's office.
Gotcha. Very good. And so this is something that's available, again, as you mentioned, at all those different locations from now until November 5th. And again, that's early voting. And then, of course, on Election Day proper, there'll be a lot of locations
So we have 33 voting convenience centers. So in San Juan County, you can cast your ballot at any one of the 33 locations. Those are listed on our website. We will also have wait times listed. So in the event you have maybe you're trying to vote on your lunch or on your way to work, I would suggest looking at our website and going to one of the sites that are not as busy. We always hope for a huge turnout on election day.
Right.
So we're planning for that.
And I think the website does show wait times or how busy certain sites are, correct?
Yes.
When you go there. And so
Yes.
you can kind of get an idea during different times of the day how things are looking.
That's correct.
Got it. And I have to say, as a voter, I find those convenience centers, just like they say, they're very convenient because it doesn't matter where you live. You can go to any of those centers and they will look up your voter registration and where you do live and print out the ballot that matches your election. So whatever I'm voting for, if I'm voting for local county commissioner, I'm in that district, that's the ballot that I get. So it's fine-tuned to that individual voter.
That is correct. And the voters in San Juan County love voting convenience centers.
Well, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I think it's great, and I think it really has lived up to its name. And I don't know how much extra work it is for you or your staff to set those up, but to have so many of them, I think, and that's really helpful in some of even the more far-flung communities in our county, because we know how big our county is.
Yes. So all of our reservation are voting convenience centers too.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of commuters that come in and they'll vote on their way in,
Sure.
vote on their way home, or take every individual by law gets 2 hours off to vote on election day. So that doesn't ever seem to be an issue, but
Right. And then I guess the other part of this conversation has to be the results, right? And of course, everyone is chomping at the bit to learn the results and see the results as they're coming in. But the more voting convenience centers that you have, that's the more individual ballot boxes, I guess, that need to be transported to Aztec.
correct. So every site has 2 tabulators. And then there's 2 results cards that come in at the end of the night from each of those tabulators. So for our reservation, 7 of our reservation sites, we actually coordinate with the sheriff's office and we use the helicopter. Thank goodness.
Right.
That way our results come in a little earlier. And then the rest of our sites, we have runners that bring those results into our office.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
And those results will be on our website on election night.
Got you. And take us through kind of the process as they are coming in, because they're coming in. There are paper ballots, of course, that are collected, but then there's also a cartridge or something, right?
Yeah. So when the tabulators start up in the morning by the poll worker, there's a 0 tape that's printed. And the poll workers verify that there are no votes cast on the tabulators. And they sign off on that. That tape then stays on the tabulator, and 5 results tapes are then printed. So at the end of the night, my office receives a 0 tape, a results tape, and then 1 memory card. Every tabulator has 2. We just receive 1 at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. Those are brought in by the runner, and then we upload those into a computer that is not tied to the internet.
That's significant, I think.
That
and
is
worth mentioning.
significant. Yes. And we do have people that come in and watch this process. And I mean, I actually encourage people that don't understand or want to learn more to see it.
Okay.
Anyhow, so then once the results are uploaded and verified, because we verify them to the tape, then we upload those in a separate computer to the Secretary of State's office website.
Gotcha. And that's how the public sees them on the various websites, whether it's your website or the Secretary of State's website, you're all going off of the same numbers.
Yes, correct.
And that's how that works. And then I guess if there's any double checking or anybody wants to double check, you still got the paper ballots though, right? Back at the voting
Yes.
center, right? At the convenience center.
So the presiding judge is actually the one that will bring in the voted ballots. So 100% correct. Not only do we have the tape and the voted ballots in the card, but through canvassing is where we verify that everything matches.
And that's why on election night, everybody always says these are the unofficial results, because then there is a canvass that I think the county commission has to oversee.
Yes.
In a few days after the votes come in, and then those become the official results. Isn't that right?
So the commission, yes, they sign off on the county canvass, and then through the state has a state canvassing board that then does verify all of the counties.
Gotcha.
And that's usually done after, I want to say, around the 28th of November.
Okay. But that's when everything becomes official.
Yes,
those
and
numbers.
then on our website, those results change from unofficial to official.
Right, and the numbers really don't change
No.
all that much,
Well,
if at all.
Right. So through Canvas, if you have any provisional ballots that came in, those would be that at that point we would either count those or not,
Right.
depending on the reason of the provisional.
And the provisional ballot, just to remind us again, if somebody shows up and they can't find their registration, you never turn anyone away. They're always allowed to vote, and then that becomes a provisional ballot that just gets scrutinized later.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you would explain it?
That's correct. I don't foresee very many provisional in this election. We have same-day registration now, so a lot of the voters that would have voted provisionally before were voters that the poll workers couldn't find in the system.
Right.
And as you indicated, yes, we're required to provide them a provisional. But with same-day registration, if someone is not in the system, they can register and vote on Election Day.
On an actual ballot.
On an actual ballot.
Because they're registered.
And we've actually, since early voting started in our office on November 11th, we've had 41 individuals that have registered and have voted.
Got it.
And these voters have to have specific information. So I would encourage anyone that thinks they may not be registered to contact our office, and we can verify that, and we can also provide you whether they need their driver's license, a utility bill, because the address has to match
Right.
what they're registering as, and they have to provide us the proof.
Gotcha. Very good. And I want to ask you, too, about all these workers that are dealing with all these things, because you can't be everywhere. We can't clone Tanya Shelby as much as maybe we'd like to, right? And have you in every voting convenience center. So you are busy training and hiring workers, election workers. We've heard from other parts of the country maybe where there's a shortage of election workers, but you and I were talking before we came on the air this morning that that's not the case here in San Juan County. You have enough folks to man all these positions.
Exactly. We're fortunate in San Juan County. We've had election workers that have worked for us for over 30 years. I've been in the office for 29, and a lot of these are familiar faces, which is good, right? Because then San Juan County has experienced election workers.
Right.
And I'd also like to say a lot of them are retired San Juan County employees. And Debbie Holmes, I know you recognize that name.
Of course.
She's actually our presiding judge for early voting at Gateway.
Okay.
But
So they know what they're doing, I think, is what you're
Yes.
what you're telling us, and they've been trained.
Yes.
But you have some new folks coming in too, but they get to work with these folks who kind of have been there a time or two.
yes, we always pride ourselves on using students. And we've had a great experience with the students. They're not afraid of the computers. Where some of my
Right.
seasoned workers, that they're a little bit more afraid. The system is simple, but I love using our student workers. And I've had student workers that have started when they're 16, and now a couple of them are even presiding judges. So they have the opportunity to work their way up.
Right.
And then continue to work as they've grown and done whatever they want to do with their life. They
Sure.
still make it, it's still important to them.
Right. Very good. And so, and again, I think it's great that we have that we don't have a shortage here, and that folks are interested in getting involved in the process. I think it's even better to hear that young people are interested in getting involved in the process, because we kind of hear sometimes that younger people are somewhat apathetic towards elections, but that doesn't seem to be the case, at least with the folks who are working with you.
That's correct. Like I said, we're very fortunate in San Juan County.
That's good. So here we are, less than 2 weeks away from Election Day. What are some of the other things that you'll be watching? The folks in your office will be watching. Obviously, the early voting is underway. And that's every day.
So currently, and I think that the voters in San Juan County are interested in what our turnout is.
Yes.
So the first day of early voting when all of our alternate locations opened, which was last Saturday, we were 200 less voters than what we had seen in the 2018 midterm election.
You're comparing that to that, right?
Yes, yes.
Gotcha.
So as of yesterday, we're 33 over.
Okay.
So we've gained a little bit of traction. I encourage voters to vote early. The worst thing that I have to deal with is telling a voter when they call me on Monday that they've just been notified they've had an emergency, they have to go out of town for work, maybe something has come up and they won't be able to vote on Tuesday. There's nothing I can do to help that voter. So
too late to get an absentee ballot.
Yes, all of
Early
that.
voting is ended,
Yep.
and so you're stuck.
There is nothing I can do to help that voter. So early voting, you get it out of the way. In the event something were to happen, your vote, you've voted. You don't even have to worry about it.
Right.
In San Juan County, voters love early voting.
Sure.
They like that. So I have heard a lot of people that are saying we're just going to vote on Election Day this year, and that's fine. It breaks my heart when I have to tell them I can't help them.
If they can't get there. That's right.
Yep.
And our voter turnout on average is about, what would you say, from election to election? What do we see? I know it's not 100%. It'd be great if it was.
Right.
What do we see?
We teeter around between 62 and 65%.
Okay.
And I can tell you that I was hoping for a large turnout in 2020. That was probably
Right.
anyhow, but we hit 67%. So we only saw a 2% increase in that election. So
Wow. With everything that was going on
Yes.
in 2020. Right. Interesting.
So as clerk, I would love to see at least an 80% turnout.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be happy with 70, 75, but 80 I'd be thrilled to death if I
Sure.
could get 80% of the voters to vote.
But I don't think there's almost any place in this country that gets 80% voter turnout, unfortunately.
That you're correct, but it'd be nice if San Juan County set
Oh, it would.
the
Believe
trend.
me, I'm right there with you. I think it'd be great. And unfortunately, there's just that 32% or so people that don't go to the polls for whatever reason. And I suppose it's their right not to go, but it's really an important part of this country, of any democracy, I would say, to exercise that right to vote, even if you hold your nose or whatever you got to do to go in there and make a decision. But that is the right that's been granted to us by a lot of folks who've given a lot over these years.
Yeah, and in other countries, when people stand in line for days to cast their ballot, and here, you mentioned we have voting convenience centers. We try to make it super easy, but yes, I do realize that I can't make voters vote.
Right.
But I can encourage individuals to make sure, if your child is in school, college, if they're out of state, let's do our best as parents, maybe even grandparents, to make sure that we kind of get them involved in this process.
Sure.
It's important to everyone.
Right, because even if they're out of state or at school, they could still request, if their primary residence or permanent residence is still here, right, they can get a ballot to vote here.
Correct.
And that's how that works, right?
Yes.
And so that's an important part of this as well.
It is.
Now, there is information, I know, all over your website to help voters ahead of time. Because I know sometimes people will go into the polls and they'll get into the booth and they'll be like, oh, I didn't know I had to vote for that, or I didn't know about that ballot question, or this bond issue, or this, or whatever the case may be. And so we can do a little bit of homework before we get to the polls to just kind of see what our ballot will look like and not be maybe surprised by some of the questions we're asked to vote on, or candidates we're asked to vote for, or whatever, right?
Yes, that's correct, Scott. For voters, they can, if you go to our website, you can either print your specific sample ballot or even a super sample ballot. But we also have constitutional amendments and bond questions. And then the San Juan College has a question on the ballot also. So they're on our website. You can familiarize yourself with those amendments and bond questions, so that when you do go to the polls, you're aware. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah.
You've done your research and you're aware on how you want to vote on each of those.
Right.
We will be having a handout if you don't have time to get online and review them before you go. We will have information when you do go in to vote. And it does seem to be helpful to the voters, but
Right.
yes, anything, we all like to do things in the comfort of our own home. So I would encourage you to use our website and get that information. What we are seeing is that voters are taking longer in the booth. It's a two-sided ballot. It's full. It's a full ballot.
So a lot of things we're
Yes.
being asked to decide.
Yes.
Right.
So anyhow,
Okay.
I would encourage that.
I'm holding up the voter information guide that you brought in, which is also available at your office on paper for folks who maybe aren't comfortable or maybe would just like something to hold and look through about all the proposed constitutional amendments, the general obligation bonds, and general voting information. But it is available at your office, but a copy is also online.
They're also available at our early voting sites if you wanted
good
to
to
stop
know.
and pick up a sample ballot and pick one of those up.
Okay. So you can pick one up without voting and then go
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Is what you can do, is the idea. And so, but I know it's very, very important for folks to know kind of what they're voting on. We did a program I mentioned to you Monday about the San Juan College bond and what that all stands for and what the projects are involved with that. But there are a lot of other questions that impact schools and libraries and even other things around the state that we're going to be asked to vote on this year. So it's important folks
Yes.
understand them. And not get surprised. So, very good. Well, Tanya, Shelby, I really appreciate you coming in this morning to talk about the elections. I know it's a busy time for you, so anytime we can get you away from the office, I'm sure is really valuable. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You bet. Good to see you, and good luck with everything. And we'll watch the website for the election results
Okay.
coming in on election night.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That is Tanya Shelby. She is the San Juan County Clerk, my guest this morning here on KSJE. KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week. Week 10, Memorize versus Understand. One of the studying tips for college that can make a massive difference in how you approach new information is knowing the difference between memorizing the material and understanding it. Memorizing information isn't actually learning the information, it's just helping you learn how to repeat it during a finite time. The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College. KSJE is supported by the Farmington Museum. What if you could jump into the world of wild kratts and swing through the trees like a monkey, or hunt like a dragonfish? Now you can. Wild Kratts, Creature Power, and Ocean Adventure Museum Exhibit, opening September 24th through January 7th at the Farmington Museum. Tickets at farmingtonmuseum.org. KSJE is supported by the San Juan Symphony, presenting The Majesty of Mozart, Saturday, November 5th at 7:30 p.m. in Farmington, and Sunday, November 6th at 3 p.m. in Durango. The concert features a combined 160-plus voice choir from Durango, Farmington, and Fort Lewis College, 4 soloists, and Mozart's Requiem Mass, his final musical statement. Find out more at sanjuansymphony.org. The Majesty of Mozart, November 5th and 6th.